Are you starting to wake up? I think I was a little too heavy-handed on the sedation spell. Any longer and I would have started to think I accidentally put you in a coma. Right. As expected, you have no idea where you are right now. Rest assured, you did agree to this before us getting here. You are in a chamber located deep within a dungeon. I've spent the better part of my life, rather, death, constructing the perfect lab to perform my research, only to find out that I was missing one key thing that I couldn't go without. I needed a human. That's where you come in. You can trust that I have no intention of harming you. Quite honestly, I wouldn't have spent the amount of resources finding someone like you if I was going to. Yes, I suppose I do have a relationship with the art of necromancy. However, reviving humans as anything more than puppets is all that most monsters are able to achieve without practice. And since that's illegal in the eyes of the Demon Queen, it's next to impossible to practice that skill enough to do it. Besides, as a Lich, I've already shown to excel in the arts of necromancy and undead magics. Thus, I decided to spend the rest of my seemingly endless lifespan to the study of demonics, specifically the part that modern-day monsters would greatly appreciate. Lust magic. It can be found in nearly every monster in one form or another, but no monster is able to use it as effectively as a succubus. For centuries, they have held secrets that they are completely unaware that they had. That is, until now. I started my research by studying the event that led to the Amazons being classified as monsters. The day that succubi shared their runes with them. I don't know exactly how much you know about monsters, but Amazon warriors tend to have markings on their arms and legs. They're runes. While the magic of runes themselves were naturally implanted to the Amazons' children, runes are still used. The issue is that in the current era, those runes hold no magical charge, given that they're simple recreations of what they once were. While I was able to reverse engineer them and successfully test them on some of my underlings, I realized that I could create a rune that did something similar for human men. So, I sent my minions in search of the perfect candidate. It would have had to be a human with as little demonic corruption as possible, meaning my search had to start pretty deep in Order territory. However, I couldn't exactly take a random human. The risks outweighed any potential reward. So instead, I tracked people who traveled outside of the Order's boundaries. Something important for monsters to learn is that whenever someone goes a certain distance outside of the Order's walls, they're not expected to return due to the way monsters are viewed by common people. To many of them, sending heroes and soldiers on their own is a death sentence, meaning no one would ask questions if I took one of them. There's only one real issue. To many monsters, those who leave the safety of the Order are often viewed as luxury goods by the monster populace. I had a couple of plans, but then eventually settled on just asking nicely. But that's not important. We didn't get to know each other more. Are you a scholar or a simple researcher? Either way, I think we'll still get along just fine, or at the very least, you might understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. No, I'm not being paid. Someone as long-lived as me can rack up a sizable fortune easily. Even now, I have relics from ages long ago that were once trinkets of everyday life. This dungeon was actually created from a place that I had lived once long ago. Each stone was once a part of a building that once existed on the surface. You see, I have seen the rise and fall of many towns and cities. I have existed since before normal monsterization was a thing, and as such, I found it harder to act like any other monster due to there being little change in my nature. Even as a Lich that could accurately be described as a monster, my research was based more around alchemy and enchanting rather than gathering souls. In truth, I wish to gain from this experiment the ability to have a connection with a human. All other monsters seem to share that trait. None of my magics are capable of harming humans, but that doesn't mean they can't be intense in other ways. For your safety, I have restrained you. I suggest you don't struggle. The bonds are purposely loose as to not leave marks on your skin, but they're also designed to be resistant towards random spasms. If they detect an actual attempt to break free, they'll tighten. As I'm sure you've also noticed, is I've stripped you completely naked. I assure you that this is necessary for the experiment to function. If you don't mind, I will be expressing my findings out loud so that my enchanted pen will write down what I say. It ensures that the experiment goes by faster, and I can make longer observations. The first rune I will use is to try and connect us the same way other monsters connect to humans they take a liking to. After studying multiple monsters, I've come up with criteria for knowing if it worked. Alright. I'll start by applying a lotion over your heart to reduce any discomfort caused by this rune. In rare cases, humans can reject rune magic, causing painful rashes to occur. Using this lotion will potentially taint the results, but the safety of my subject is more important. The data gathered will have to suffice. Now, I'll start by tracing the symbol. If all goes well, the subject should only feel a throbbing warmth in the shape of the symbol. I can also use this to determine if they're able to have runes drawn on bare skin. Unfortunately, this rune can only be applied once, as it provides a permanent function. After studying samples I took from my own skin where I inscribed the rune, I've determined that while the glow might fade, the rune will remain partially visible. Done. Now, to activate it. That should do it. I simply transferred some of my mana over to you. You see, runes rely on mana from the host creature to... I'm okay. More than okay. Is this what they all see? Is this how they all feel? Has the cold embrace of being deathless made me so numb that I forgot what it was like to be warm? It's like I was reborn. I see you, human. I really see you. My heart, it feels like it's being drowned by emotions. And my thoughts, I can't describe them. I have desires that I haven't felt since I was alive. How do you feel? Any soreness? Itchiness? No? Good. The experiment is undoubtedly a success, but what next? I can't even think straight. I know, the pleasure runes. I don't think they've ever been used in this way, but I'll start slow with the weaker ones first. When used on women and monsters, this one should have a dull, buzzing sensation on the area applied. I'll put the first one here. Relax. It tickles at first. Are you sensitive? That means I picked out a good spot. I think I chose it because of the other rune. Like, I knew this would be the best place to put it. There. The mana I gave you should power it, but one can't be too careful. How does that feel? The subject has goosebumps all over his body. Signs suggest positive reaction to minor rune stimulation. That should keep you entertained for a little bit, but now it's time to do the technical stuff. The hardest part of some of these runes was deciphering the actions of succubi, since I determined that they use similar spells automatically. Once I learn how a human reacts to a more potent and manual variant of this magic, I'll begin working on an all-in-one rune system to automatically administer the effects. But for now, let's just make sure everything works.